Namaskar, respected Dr. Ratan Lal, esteemed faculty of Ohio State University, USA, learned delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this presentation on non-technological soil management anchored climate resilient agriculture policy and important perspective. Actually, the problem that we are facing almost over the world is we have to feed growing population, and this has to be done at lesser availability of water, allocation to agriculture, and lesser arable land, that is per capita lesser arable land due to urbanization, and over and above climate change is also having its impact. Then new challenge, that is COVID, is also its own impact on agriculture. On Indian perspective, we have to feed 17% of world population from 4% of world water and 2.4% of world land. Similar situation exists in many countries in Asia and Africa. When intensive agriculture started, for certain time we could maintain higher soil productive capacity, but gradually it declined. And whether it will stabilize at this stage or decline further, or we can take some offset management practice and then we can improve it. That depends on the choice of technology, choice of our culture, and choice of our action. Soil technology overall, I have broadly said here as three types. One is production oriented, that is nutrient management, etc. is there. Then conservation oriented, that is erosion control, sand dune stabilization in the region, and then carbon sequestration, how to sequester carbon in the soil. And then harmonization oriented, harmonization of two fields. Here I have told about drip irrigation, which is from water management and nutrient management. So it's a kind of win-win situation. This type of technology is there in the landscape, but we must understand that agri-innovation is not only technology. It is financial, both private and farmer producer organizations are coming up in a big way now throughout the world. Then research advisory extension system, that is important, and policy regulatory framework, that is very, very important. So these are having their own influence in this overall agri-innovation. Soil productive capacity is having three distinct phases. We have seen that first phase is very slowly declining phase. Slope is very slow, very less. Then first declining phase is phase 2, and third phase is stabilizing phase. You can understand that it is a kind of moving a stone or rolling a stone uphill. That is the condition if we want to go from here to here. But if we want to go from here to here, this is a kind of easier than this one. So that's why we somehow our technology, we should be able to arrest at phase 1 only, so that going back to original productive capacity is very easy. That is our idea. But to do that, we have to keep in mind that non-technological components are also important. Land governance is one, and these are the sustainable development goals that are associated with land development. From goal 15, that is 15.3 specific target is the land degradation neutrality, and all these things, this is for climate change, all these things are related to land governance. Then extension and advisory services, this is also very, very important, and goal 17 is related to it directly, although goal 17 is related to partnership and cooperation, that is related to all aspects almost. Then finance and market, goal 8 is directly related. Local governance and cooperation, goal 16 and goal 5, they are directly related. And indigenous technological knowledge, that is goal 1, 10 and 12. These three are directly related. So these are non-technological components. Those are really important and they are related to so many SDGs directly. Then these are the case study, one of the case study from Kenya. This I collected during my study visit to Kenya, and you can see here that whenever the citizen engagement, engaging key leaders at an early stage and hearing marginalized voice, this was done properly, then Sustainable Land Management Program was successful. The next case study is from Benin. Here also, when they have mainstreamed women's involvement, then this food security, adoption, and then addressing challenge to soil protection, these could be achieved very easily. Then another case study from Madagascar and also from Kenya, they have shown that agroforestry for sustainable land management, when local people were kept at the center of implementation, all the ecosystem services accrued from agroforestry system and sustainable land management could be achieved. Through our own STCR, that Soil Test Crop Response, that is a All India Coordinated Research Project that I am looking after. This is funded by ICR, and here we have seen that through our 25 centers that all the ecosystem services, all the 4 dimensions that could be touched upon, that is provisioning approach, that is provisioning dimension, food feed fiber production, controlling dimension, that is carbon sequestration, supporting dimension, that is nutrient cycling, and cultural dimension. This is also possible. Cultural dimension, I can say that through our tribal supplant program and scheduled caste component, we could reach the unreached and serve the unserved, and with a little hand only, they could get good crop, and they usually don't migrate to the nearby town and bricklaying, and as a result, they could invest their leisure time for their own culture. That's why I was telling that it could support all the 4 dimensions of ecosystem services. Indigenous technological knowledge is very important. During my stay at Chodnagpur Plateau region and I have worked there for 8 years. I have seen that water harvesting and storage structure, these are done by tribal farmers from their own knowledge, own traditional knowledge, and very successful. Then mulching of ginger with tree leaves and paddy straw during sowing in the month of May, when it is very, actually before monsoon, when it is a kind of hot situation, it could keep the soil cool and conserve the soil moisture. Koronj and neem cave, they apply in their land, and these, apart from supplying nutrients, is also arrest the Ralstonia bacterial weed of Solanaceous vegetable, particularly for tomato and brinjal. And these indigenous population, if they could make a transformed into enforcement enterprise for soil conservation, soil health, combating climate change, and ensuring food security can be achieved very easily with this indigenous technological knowledge. Policy metrics for sustainable land management and climate resilient agriculture, therefore, requires land governance, extension and advisory services, local governance and cooperation, finance and market, and monitoring and evaluation at all stages. Together, in a synchronized manner, we can achieve a policy matrix, and this was published in Current Science, published by Indian Institute of Science from Bangalore. So here it has given, everything has been given. So through Agriculture Internet of Things, we could map the spatial variety of each and every parcel of land, and through mobile telephony and with all the help of all non-technological management practices, we can directly supply knowledge to the farmers mobile. Then Acknowledgement to ICAR, then TMG think tank of Germany, BMZ and GIZ of Germany, because GIZ supported my study visit to Kenya, who some part of that I have presented over here. Thank you very much. Thank you one and all.